Dear students, so up till now we have seen the formula or the applications of the formulas which require us to find the surface area and volume of solid figures such as cube and cuboid, and we have also seen the basic most questions that have been asked on the application of those formulas. So now let us proceed and let us see the collection of one of the best problems asked over these years, from the domain of cube and cuboid. So there are not too many formulas to learn or remember, but it's actually the application of those formulas, and there are certain tricks, shortcuts that will help you to reach at the answer in lesser amount of time. So it appears that people tend to ignore this chapter. They think that it is a basic chapter, what's there to learn about. But please mind, there are certain shortcuts, and even should I say, there are certain sets of questions which, if you are not aware of beforehand, you might feel difficulty solving it at the first attempt. So please do not ignore by saying that it's one of the relatively easy portions. I agree, it is one of the relatively easier portions, but the questions might not be easy. So let's proceed to see the collection of some of the best problems that have been asked over these years. So let's move. Now this one, the ratio of diagonals of two cubes is 3:2. So what is the ratio of surface area of these two cubes? Now please understand, so when you are finding the surface area, ratio of areas, when you are finding the ratio of areas, and that too of a cube, so since it is area, a two-dimensional thing, two-dimensional, so ratio will always be of the form of a1 square is to a2 square, where a1 and a2 are the length of the edges, as we have learned from the concept of scaling. So if you are talking about volume, so length cube, so it has got something to do with the, since we are talking about volume would be three dimensional, then the ratio would be something like this. But here we are interested in finding the surface area. So area is a two dimensional thing, and area of a, or let's say surface area of a cube, depends on which factor. What is the determining factor? What does the formula of the surface area of a cube involve? It involves the edge. So basically, if you are able to figure out a1 and a2, then a1 square is to a2 square should be the answer. So let's try to see what has been given to us. The ratio of diagonals is given, ratio of diagonals of a cube. So what is the diagonal of a cube? If you want to get into formulas, but what I am trying to say is that you can avoid getting into formulas, because diagonal is a unidimensional or one dimensional thing. So diagonal is just like the length. So indirectly, the ratio of edges is given to you, 3:2. This is given already, and based on this you have to find a1 square is to a2 square. This should be equal to what? 3 square is to 2 square. Answer should be equal to 9:4. So see, I have not used the formula for, I don't even, did I tell you what is the formula for diagonal of a cube? I have not used it here. Why I have not used it here? Let's understand. And why did I use this concept? Because here ratio is mentioned. I am more interested in ratio. I am not interested in the actual values. So ratio of two things, you might not always have to use the formula. So now let's use the formula and see why I did so. If I would have used the traditional method, then I would have solved this question something like this. I would have said that let a1 and a2 be the edges or the length of the edges of the two cubes. Then I would have used the formula for diagonal of a cube, as I have already told you, diagonal of a cube or diagonal of a cube or cuboid. For both the cases, formula is under root of length square plus breadth square plus height square. But in case of cube, length, breadth and height, all three are same. So in special case of cube, you can say this will be equal to what? Diagonal of a cube as per the formula will be equal to what? A square. If I consider this to be A1 and this to be A2, so A1 square, breadth will also be A1 square and height will also be A1 square. So this will come out to be what? So A1 into root 3. Similarly, diagonal of the second cube would be A2 root 3. So this is what is given to us. The ratio of diagonal is given. The ratio of diagonal is given. So if you take this ratio, this is what is given. A1 root 3 is to A2 root 3 is given to us as equal to 3:2. Now please understand, this root 3 and root 3 are going to get cancelled. So effectively speaking, you are given the ratio of the edges. That's why I did not use the formula, because the constant part is supposed to get cancelled. Now you have found out A1 is to A2. If you have used as per the formula, then the ratio of surface area ratio, if you had have used the proper formula, then what you have used? 6A1 whole square is to 6A2 whole square, and then you would have realized that let's cancel this 6 and 6 out. Then what is the use of writing and then cancelling it out? So please remember, if you are comparing two geometrical entities, so let's suppose I am comparing volume of two spheres. So the formula for volume of two spheres is 4 by 3 pi r cube. So if I am comparing this, so basically this 4 by 3 pi and 4 by 3 are going to get cancelled. Only the variable part remains. So whenever you are comparing, so by comparing I mean whenever you are taking the ratio, so the constant part of the formula can be avoided or ignored in totality, because you are taking the ratio, it is going to get cancelled eventually. So we will see a few more examples later on. So now let's move to the next question. If the rectangular faces of a brick have their diagonals in the ratio 3:2, so in the given ratio, then we have to find the ratio of the length of the shortest edge of the brick to that of the longest edge. Now please understand what is this question all about. So a brick is generally in form of a cuboid, because length, breadth and height are different, but shape wise it is a cuboid. A brick, you must have seen bricks, houses are made up of bricks, so I'm pretty sure you must be aware of the shape of a brick. So this is what a brick looks like a cuboid. It is a cuboidal shape after all. So what is this question trying to say? If the rectangular faces of a brick, what do you mean by rectangular faces? So how many faces does a cube or a cuboid has? As we already saw that a cube or a cuboid has 6 surfaces or faces. So if you draw it at one point in time, you can draw only 3 surfaces: surface 1, surface 2, surface 3. But in reality there are 6 surfaces. It is not possible to show it through the diagram, but you can visualize that there are 6 surfaces. And see, let's suppose the length is A and this breadth is B and the height is C. So as you can see, the area of these 3 surfaces, so if you find out the area of this surface, so you will say that I am going to find out the area of a rectangle. If you concentrate only on the surface, the surface is nothing but a rectangle having dimensions A and B. Similarly, if you concentrate on this surface, this one, then this again is a rectangle, isn't it? This is a rectangle. So that is what this question is trying to say, that you can see these 3 surfaces, because the 3 that you can't see are the replica of this. There is a same surface of same dimension just opposite to it, which you can't see. There is a Same, there is one more surface of this dimension just opposite to it, which is not visible in the diagram. So basically there are three surfaces and its pair. So pair is not visible, these three surfaces are visible. So now this is the diagonal for this surface, this is the diagonal for this surface, and similarly if you would have drawn the third surface, you would have realized that these three surfaces being of three different sizes will produce three different diagonals. So this is what they are trying to say, that this is the ratio of those diagonals. Then you have to find the length of the shortest edge of the brick to the length of the longest edge. So let's try to solve this. So I have drawn the diagram of this brick, I have enlarged so that you can understand carefully. So what is the ratio? Ratio is 3:2 root 3. So let me write out the ratio. The given ratio of diagonal is this. So this is the ratio. So now let's see. So the first diagonal would be equal to what? Under root a square plus b square. If you see properly. So this is a rectangle. So the diagonal of a rectangle is under root a square plus b square, a and b being its side. So under root a square plus b square. So assume this to be equal to 3. Similarly, under root c square plus b square, the diagonal for other face, let this be represented by this, and the third side be a square plus c square. So if you square this, then I can assume let a square plus b square be equal to 3 square. That means this is equal to 9. Similarly, c square plus b square. So I am squaring this. So if I assume a square plus b square to be 9, then c square plus b square must be equal to 2 root 3 whole square. So if you square this, 2 square 4, root 3 whole square is 3. So 4 into 3, 12. Similarly, a square plus c square comes out to be equal to 15. So root 15 whole square. So this is equal to 15. Now, if you add these three, if you add them up, you get twice of a square plus b square plus c square is equal to 9 plus 12 plus 15 is equal to 36, isn't it? So 12 plus 9, 21, 21 plus 15, 36. So from here, a square plus b square plus c square is equal to 36 by 2 comes out to be equal to 18. So now you know that a square plus b square plus c square is equal to 18. So a square is equal to what? 18 minus b square plus c square. So b square plus c square is equal to how much? 12. So 18 minus 12. So is equal to 6. Similarly, b square will be equal to what? 18 minus a square plus c square, this thing. So 18 minus 5. Similarly, b square is equal to 18 minus 15 must be equal to 3. Same logic, c square must be equal to 18 minus a square plus b square. So 18 minus 9. So 18 minus 9 must be equal to 9. So from here, so what have we been asked to find? So we have to find the length of the shortest edge. So basically we have to find all the three edges. So a is equal to root 6 because a square is equal to 6. So a is equal to root 6, b is equal to root 3 and c is equal to root 9, that is equal to 3. So out of these three numbers, that means out of these three numbers, which is the smallest? Root 3 is the smallest. And which is the greatest? 3 is the greatest. So the ratio of smallest side, so ratio of smallest is to largest. This is what we were asked to find. So smallest is root 3, largest is 3. So root 3 is to 3 can also be written as 1 is to root 3. So 1 is to root 3 is the answer. Now let's move to next one. Okay, now the residents of a city fetch water in buckets from a tank. The tank is cubical in shape. One side of the tank measures this. So tank is cubical. That's why only one side is given, because the other two sides are also of same dimension. That's why in case of a cube, only one side is given, because all the three sides are same. The buckets are cuboidal in shape. The dimension of the bucket is this. So how many buckets of water can be fetched from a half full tank? Please mind, the tank is half full. So what can you say? Volume of tank divided by 2, because the tank is half filled. So volume of tank divided by 2 must be equal to the volume of water collected in all the buckets. So let there be n buckets. So if there are n buckets, so all the water from this tank, half filled tank, goes and gets accommodated in the n buckets. So this volume must be equal to the volume of water contained in the buckets ultimately. So let there be n buckets. So volume of tank divided by 2 must be equal to n into volume of one bucket. So this equation must be valid. So now let's solve this. So volume of tank, so 10 cube by 2. So see, since all the dimensions are same, meter, 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 so we need not carry the burden of units. So 10 cube volume, a cube, so 10 cube by 2 must be equal to n into, what is the volume of bucket? Bucket is the form of a cuboid. So n into 0.5 into 1 into 0.5. So let's solve from here. So from here you can see that n is equal to 1000, because 10 cube is equal to 1000. So 10 by 2 into 0.5. So 0.5 can be written as 1 by 2. So 1 by 2 into this half goes and gets divided here. So 1 by 2. So this 2 and 2 gets cancelled. So n comes out to be equal to 2000. So from this half full tank, 2000 buckets can be filled. So now let's move further. A rectangular sheet of dimensions 80 centimeter by 30 centimeter is cut off at corners by square of side 5 centimeter. The remaining sheet is folded to form a rectangular box. Find the volume of the box. So a sheet of paper, the corners are cut. So the corners are cut. Or better still, I'll draw the diagram. So let's draw the diagram. So something like this. So the dimension of the paper was, this whole thing was 80 centimeter and this was 30 centimeters. So what have they done? They are cutting the corners, the square from each corner, and the side of the square is 5 centimeters. So let's do the maths now. So this is 5, this much, and this is also 5, and this is also 5. So if you look at this portion, length AB must be equal to 80 minus 5 from this side and 5 from this side. So total length would be 80 minus 5 plus 5, so comes out to be equal to 70. So now what is this AB? So AB, so if you are trying to form the box, so AB will become the length of the box. So AB is what? From 80 it reduced to 70, because you are folding it, cutting and folding. So maths of cutting and folding. Similarly, if you see breadth, let me call this CD, C and D. So CD breadth will be equal to 30 minus 5 plus 5. So 5 from this side and 5 from this side. So 30 minus 5 plus 5, so comes out to be equal to 20. So this is 70, this is 20. What about the height? So what is the height? Height will be 5 only, as you can see. This is 5. So this becomes, this is what the height is. So height is 5. So the box that you would be able to form will have the dimensions 70 into 5 into, or please see there is a convention, length. See, mathematically, the convention of a cuboid is length into breadth into height. So if a dimension is given like 8 into 7 into 3, you must assume that this is length, this is breadth, and this is height. So this is convention. Length first, breadth next, and height last. So anyways, the box that we would be able to form will have the dimensions. So let's also follow the dimension: length 70, breadth 20, and height 5. So what will be its volume? So volume is the product of length, breadth, and height. So we have been asked to find the volume. So volume is equal to length into breadth into height. So in our case, in the case of this particular box, so it comes out to be 70 into 20 into 5. So 20 into 500, 100 into 70. So 7,000 square units. In our case, unit is what? Meter. So 7,000, it is centimeter. So 7,000 centimeter cubes. Okay, fine. So this was all about the volume and surface area of solid figures such as cube and cuboid. So now let's understand one last remaining concept that you must be aware of from the domain of cube and cuboid. So that concept is the concept of lateral area. So now what is lateral area? See, if you see, you must have come across two terms from solid geometry: surface area and lateral area. So what is the difference between these two terms, surface area and lateral area? Let's take this geometrical figure. So this is a cylinder. So total surface area. So if somebody will ask you that what is the total surface area, you would say that the surface area of this curved portion plus the upper portion and the bottom base. So total surface area means what? Whichever surfaces you can touch, the entire surface, area of the entire surface. But if you talk about the lateral area, so lateral means sideways, only the side portion. So lateral area of this geometrical figure. So while finding the lateral area, you will ignore the base, bottom and top area. So that is the concept of lateral area. You are concerned only with the side or the curved surface, curved. So that's why lateral area is also known as curved surface area, because while finding lateral area, you ignore the area of the base and the bottom. So now let's understand the concept of lateral area when it comes to cube and cuboids. So if you talk about the lateral area of a cube, so let's first consider a cube. So this is a cube. So yeah, so one edge of a cube, let's assume the length of one edge of a cube to be equal to A. So what is total surface area? So total surface area, since there are 6 surfaces and each surface is just like a square, so 6A square is the total surface area of the cube. But when you are finding the lateral area of the cube, please think carefully what should the answer be. So when you are finding the lateral area, so you will ignore this surface. You will say, I don't need the area, need to count the area of this surface. I ignore this, and just a similar area at the bottom will be completely ignored. So out of 6 surfaces, 2 surfaces are not counted at all. So lateral area of a cube is equal to what? 4A square because of that. Now let's understand what should be the lateral area of a cuboid. Lateral area of a cube is easy because length is equal to breadth is equal to height. So you need not strain your brain too much because it's easy to grasp. But when it comes to cuboid, you have to be sensitive and careful. Now let's see lateral area. So then the order matters, the height matters. You have to be very clear what the height is. This is the height. Suppose you draw a cuboid, then you can't say that this is the height. No, this is not the height. This is the length. Okay, so height is always the vertical height achieved. This is the height. So now let us understand what is the lateral surface area. So while finding the lateral surface area, so before finding the lateral surface area, let us understand what is the total surface area. So total surface area. There are 6 surfaces. So out of 6 surfaces, there are basically 3 surfaces and its partner. So 3 different types of surfaces. Surface 1, surface 2 and surface 3. Each comes 2 times. So the total surface area is twice of the sum of these 3 surfaces. So that's why you must have seen the formula comes out of twice of length into breadth plus breadth into height plus height into length. Because when you are finding total surface area, you are considering all the 6 surfaces. But when you are finding only the lateral surface area, so out of these 6 surfaces, you are not going to consider the top surface and the bottom surface. That means out of total surface area, you have to minus something. You have to minus the area of the upper surface and the bottom surface. Now let us understand what the upper surface and bottom surface, what are the dimensions of the upper surface and bottom surface. Basically they are the same in dimension. So let's find out for one case. So this is H, this is B. If this is B means what? This is also B. If this is L, this is also L. So the dimension is basically length into breadth. So out of 6 surfaces, you don't need the area of this one. Twice of length and breadth. They are not to be counted. So when you are finding lateral surface area, so this must be the formula. So twice of H can be taken as common, twice of height into length and breadth. Please remember this very carefully. Please remember this. Very seldom do we ask our students to remember any formula, especially in quantitative aptitude. Even here you don't need to remember it, but in case you remember it, so you will gain speed, you will be able to solve it quickly. So the formula for lateral surface area of a cuboid is equal to 2 times of height into sum of length and breadth. So this is what? 2 times of twice into height into sum of length and breadth, isn't it? Sum of length and breadth. So please remember this. This is a very commonly used formula. If you remember this, you would be able to solve in like 30 to 35 seconds. So now let's move to see what questions have been asked over these years. Okay, this one. The height of a room is 1/5 the sum of its length and breadth. The cost of preparing its wall at rupees 4 per meter square is rupees 640. What is the height of the room? Let's see. So it is said that the cost of preparing its wall. What do you mean by preparing its wall? That means coloring its wall. So when we talk about wall, we are not referring to the roof and the floor. So wall basically means lateral area. So please mind this carefully. Whenever questions are asked from wall, they are basically referring to the lateral area. That is the difference between saying wall and the room. They should have said room. Why they are saying wall? Because wall means lateral. Room means the entire thing. So lateral area. So what is the cost? Total cost is 640. What was the rate? Rate was 4. So area that was painted. What was the total area that was painted? Must be equal to the total money paid by money per meter square. So this comes out to be equal to 640 divided by 4 comes out to be equal to how much? 160 units or meter square. So 160 meter square is the area of all the 4 walls. So what is the area of all the 4 walls? So area of 4 walls, we just saw the formula. What was the formula? Twice into height into sum of length and breadth. So twice into height into sum of length and breadth. So this must be equal to 160. So let's see. So it is said that the height of the room is 1/5 the sum of its length and breadth. So it is also given that height is equal to 1/5 of length plus breadth. So from here we can see that length plus breadth must be equal to 5 times height. So let's do it here. So from here twice into height into, instead of length plus breadth we can write here 5h. This must be equal to 160 meters square. So from here you can see that 10h square is equal to 160 meters square. So if you solve this, h comes out to be 4 meters. So this is the correct answer. Find the area of 4 walls of a room having length, breadth and height as so and so. Find the cost of whitewashing the walls at the rate rupees 15 per meter. This should be meter square ideally. Find the cost of whitewashing. So length 8, breadth 5 and height 3. So this is given. So what will be the area of 4 walls? So area of 4 walls means what? Basically lateral area. So lateral area or area of 4 walls is equal to what? Twice into height. So twice into height into length plus breadth. So this is the area. So let's find that out. So this is equal to 2 into height is what? 3 into length plus breadth. So 8 plus 5. So what does this comes out to be? So 2 into 3 into 13. So 3 into 2, 6. So 6 into 13. So 78. So 78 is the area of the 4 walls. Now if 78 is the area of the 4 walls, then what is the total cost? Total cost is equal to area into rate per unit. Rate per unit. So area is what? 78. What is rate per unit? Rate is 15. So 78 into 15. So this comes out to be how much? So yeah, this is 1170. So rupees 1170, 39 threes are okay. So this is the answer. So now let's move to the next one. The cost of painting the 4 walls of a room 12 meter long at rupees 30 per meter square is this much, and the cost of covering the floor with mat at rupees 25 per meter square is rupees 2700. So find the height of the room. So this is a very good question. So I insist that you pause this video, solve it on your own, at least give it a try, and in case you face any difficulties, then we are always there. So then you can visit the solution, but first give it a try on your own. So let's understand first what is given or what is known to us. The cost of painting of 4 walls of a room 12 meter long. That means out of the 3 dimensions, length, breadth and height, we already know that the length is 12 meters. What else? So, and the cost of at the Rate of rupees 30 per meter square is 7560. The cost of painting of 4 walls. So we will come to this information later. Let's move to this. And the cost of covering the floor with mat at rate 25 per meter square is this much. So floor area, area of floor, area of floor, which is given by length into breadth, must be equal to, see, he has spent a total of 2700 at a rate of 25 per meter square. So what must be the area of the floor? So 2700, that means total cost by rate per unit area by 25. So let's see. So 27 into 4. So this is 108. So this comes out to be equal to 108. Now length is equal to 12. So length into breadth comes out to be 108. Length is already known to be 12. So from here it is very clear that breadth must be equal to 9. So length known, breadth known. Now what? Now coming to the remaining piece of information. So the cost of painting 4 walls is known. The rate is also known. So now let's see. Area of 4 walls must be equal to, what is the total cost? Total cost is 7560. What is the rate per unit area? 30. So this must be the area of 4 walls. This must give us, so this comes out to be 250. So this is 252. 252. We know the length, we know what the breadth is, we don't know what the height is, but now we have the value for the area of 4 walls. So what is the area of 4 walls? What is the formula for area of 4 walls? So area of 4 walls is given by the formula twice into height into sum of length plus breadth. Now let's put this formula to use. So area of 4 walls we have already found out, 252. So from here it is evident that 252 must be equal to 2 into height. We don't know, we have to find that out. 2 into height into sum of length and breadth. So length plus breadth is how much? So 12 plus 9. So 12 plus 9. So from here you can see that 252 is equal to 2 into h, and 12 plus 9 is how much? So this is 21, so 42h. So 42 into h. So from here you can see that height must be equal to 252 divided by 42, and 42 6 are 6 times. So answer must be what? 6 meters. So see, if you are not able to grasp this in one go, this is only because you have not remembered this formula. This is a very crucial formula. This will help you save time, because if you don't remember this formula, you'll have to draw diagram, you'll have to visualize in the examination hall, which is going to take lot of time. So this is a plain simple formula. So you can keep practicing, you can watch this video over and over again, so that it gets stuck in your mind. Now let's move to the next one. The length, breadth and height of a room are in the ratio 3:2:1. So length, breadth and height are in the ratio 3:2:1. So let's give them some value, 3, 2 and 1 units. I'm not saying it is centimeter or meter or decimeter, just unit, some unit. So ratio is maintained. So if the breadth and height are halved while the length is doubled, then the total area of 4 walls of the room will remain. Okay, so you have to find the total area of 4 walls in 2 different scenarios, initially and finally. That means you are changing the dimensions of the room to see what happens to the area of the 4 walls. So this is the initial condition. This is the initial condition. So initial So what is the final condition? Length, breadth and height. Let's see what is the final condition. So if the breadth and height are halved, that means breadth is halved. So 2 becomes 1. Height is also halved. So 1 becomes 0.5, whereas length is doubled. So length, which is 3, is doubled to make it 6. So now let us see what happened to the area of 4 walls. Let's understand the change. So what is the formula for area of 4 walls? So area of 4 walls, the formula is twice into height into length plus breadth. So initial and final. So let's see initial area is equal to 2 into height. Height initial was 1 into length into breadth. So 3 plus 2 5. So initial it was 10. So this was 10 initial. Now what is final? Final area, let's see. So 2 into height into length plus breadth. So final figures. So 2 into final height is 0.5. So 0.5 means half into length plus breadth. So 6 plus 1 7. So this comes out to be 7. So initially the area of 4 wall was 10, whereas finally it is only 7. So you can see it is a case of decrease, has decreased. So percentage decrease. So decrease by 3, and the decrease has been observed in 10. 10 has decreased, not 7. 10 decreased to something. So if you are trying to find out the percentage decrease, you must see that 3 is what percentage of 10 and not 7. So 3 is what percentage of 10. So final answer is 30%. Now let's move to the next one. The dimensions of a room are so and so. There are 2 doors and 3 windows in the room. So doors and windows in the room means what? Obviously they are placed or made in the wall only. That means the wall has some outlet. Windows are there, doors are there. The dimensions of the door is this much, the one window is of the size this much, and the other 2 windows are of the size this much. The cost of painting for the walls at the rate of 3 per square meter is how much? So let us see. If you are painting the wall, that means you are painting only the wall, you are not painting the window, you are not painting the door. So area to be painted is equal to area of 4 walls minus the sum of area of windows and doors minus area of doors and windows. So let's calculate what is the total area that is actually getting painted. Let's do that. So dimensions are 10, 7 and 5. So length, breadth and height. See, they are using dimension. Nowhere they are saying that length is so and so, breadth is so and so. But this is the order. Length, that means first one is length, second one is breadth and third one is height. So 10, 7 and 5. So what is the area of 4 walls? So area of 4 walls is 2 times length plus breadth into height minus area of doors. So how many doors are there? There are 2 doors. So twice into 1 into 3. There are 3 windows. So 3 windows, but the windows are of different dimensions. So one window is 2 meter into 1.5 meter. So 2 into 1.5 plus there are 2 other windows. whose dimensions are given by this. So 2 other windows. So 2 into 1 into 1.5. So this is the total area to be painted, area of 4 walls minus the area of doors and windows. So let's see what this comes out to be. So twice of length plus breadth. So 10 plus 7. So twice of 10 plus 7 whole into 5 minus, so 2 into 1 into 3. So 6 plus 2 into 1.5, that means 3 plus 2 into 1.5, again 3. So this is 340 because 17 into 2 34. So this is 170 minus 12. So comes out to be 158 meters square. So this is the total area to be painted, but we have to find out the cost. So cost of painting, so cost must be equal to area into rate. So area is what? 158. Rate is what? 3. So 158 into 3. So how much this comes out to be? So 158 into 3. So this is what? 450. So 474. So this must be the answer. So students, the next figure from the domain of solid geometry that you must have a good grasp at is cylinders. So you are all aware of what a cylinder is, how it looks like, and you must also be aware about the basic formulas. So so now we will look at the advanced concepts and the type of questions that have been asked from this. But before that, let's what to say, let's revisit the formulas and let's have a better understanding this time, because many a times you simply remember the formulas, you don't understand that from where the formulas are coming. And if you actually understand that how these formulas are formulated, then any changes or any tricks and tricks applied by the question setter, you can look through it. You can understand that what changes have been made, what tips and tricks you'd be able to catch. So let's revisit, let's understand why a particular formula is applied, when a particular formula is applied, and what is the underlying logic. So let's see. So this is how a cylinder looks like. So basically you can see that the base of a cylinder is a circle. A cylinder is not always straight. As you can see, this is a straight cylinder, whereas this is an oblique cylinder. So a cylinder which in general terms you would see like a straight cylinder or a vertical cylinder is known as a right circular cylinder. So what is a right circular cylinder? This axis is making 90-degree angle with the ground. That's why it is known as right circular cylinder. Whereas in this case, the axis, this is the axis, this. So this axis is not making 90-degree angle, so this will not be referred to as right angled triangle. And you know the basic formula of the cylinder. Now let us understand the basic formula. So formula for volume is pi r square h. So if you visualize, this is the circle, the base having radius r. So the base area is pi r square. So if you pile up this thing up till a height of h, so it's like multiplying area when multiplied with height, or should I say base area when multiplied by height give its volume. So that's why pi r square h. Now coming to its total surface area and curved area. So the volume of the cylinder can be thought of as area of the base into height of the cylinder, which you saw comes out to be equal to pi r square h. Now coming to lateral surface area. Now let's see, as we have discussed a while ago, that lateral surface area of any three-dimensional figure or any solid geometrical figure is the total area minus the area of the upper surface and the lower surface or the base. So in this case, if you are trying to find out the lateral area, that means you have to completely ignore the upper and the lower surface. So if you see, or if you open the triangle, let's say if you cut the cylinder and open it up, if you open this cylinder up, let's suppose that this cylinder is made up of paper. If you open this up, then you will understand that this circle that you are seeing will become this edge of the rectangle. So if r is the radius, this will be 2 pi r, because the circumference is what, 2 pi r. So this will be 2 pi r and this will be height h. So it is like opening the cylinder. So what is the lateral surface area? Lateral surface area will be the area of this rectangular portion. So 2 pi r into h. So that's what they have written, 2 pi r h, and 2r is what, diameter. So it can also be written in this form, that pi into diameter into height. So that is the lateral surface area. But if you talk about the total surface area, so if you are finding out the total surface area, then you will have to add the area of the upper circle and the lower circle as well. That's why when you are finding the total surface area, lateral surface area is already found out, and then you have to add the area of bases, two bases, upper base and lower bases. So the formula will be what? This is the total lateral area plus the area of two circles. That's why 2 times of pi r square. So please remember these formulas, and also remember the concept of opening of cylinder. So if you open a cylinder, its lateral surface will assume the form of a rectangle, where this circumference will be one of its side and height will be the other side. So now let's see what kind of questions have been asked over these years. So let's move to the examples. Okay, this one. Find the volume in centimeter cube of a right circular cylinder. See why they are mentioning right circular cylinder? Because the formula that you have just seen is applicable only in case of right circular cylinder and none other cylinder. So find the volume in centimeter cube of a right circular cylinder of diameter 42 centimeter and height 14 centimeter. So please be careful, because in certain cases radius is given, in certain cases diameter is given. So students often commit that mistake. So please be careful here. Radius is not given, diameter is given. So radius is half the diameter. So radius is equal to 42 by 2 is equal to 21 centimeter, and height is equal to 14 centimeter. So these two figures are known to us. So now what? So let's use the formula. So what is the formula? We have to find out the volume. So volume is pi r, volume of a cylinder is given by pi r square h. So now let's use the formula. Let's substitute the values. Now see, we don't have the value for pi, nowhere it is given. So unless otherwise mentioned, if nothing is mentioned, then you have to take pi to be equal to 22 by 7. See, there are two usually accepted values of pi. One is fractional form, the other is decimal format. So if value is not given in the question paper, this has to be assumed, this one. Now let's see. So volume is equal to pi r square h. So now let's substitute the values. So pi 22 upon 7, radius is what, 14. So 14 square, so 14 into 14. What is the height? Sorry, radius is 21. So 21 into 21, and height is what? Height is 14. So now let's see. So 7 3 thrice. So now this is 22 into 3. So 66 into 21 into 14. So see, if you are in a hurry, I'll tell you a trick. Had I been solving this question in an examination hall, I would have immediately noticed that the unit digit of the answers are different. then I could have simply solved 6 into 1 6, 6 into 4 4. So this must be the answer, because the answer of my unit digit comes out to be this. So I would have straight away ticked. But here let us solve this. Let us see. So 66 into 21. So 6 6. So 132. So 6 8 3 1. So 1386 into 14. So 6 4s are 24, carry over 2. So 32 34, carry over 3. So 12 3s are 15, carry over 1. So 5. So 1 5 5 4 4 1 3 8 6. So 4 0 4 9 1. Yeah, so this is the correct answer. So you see, if you actually solve it takes lot amount of time, but if you always look for like eliminating the options, then many a times things are really easy. Now find the curved surface area of a right circular cylinder of diameter 14 centimeter and height 8 centimeter. So again diameter is given. So if diameter is given, then first thing is that you need to find out the value of radius from that. So radius is equal to diameter by 2, comes out to be equal to 7. I am avoiding the unit because everywhere the unit is same. So curved surface area is equal to what? 2 pi r into height, 2 pi r h. So again we will take pi equal to 22 by 7. What else? We have the value for r, we have the value for height as well. So everything is already known. We simply have to substitute in the formula. So let's do that. So this is equal to 2 into pi. Pi is 22 by 7. Radius is 7. Height is 8. So let's see. So 22 into 16. So answer is 22 into 16. So again you can employ this trick, 6 into 2 12. So this must be the correct answer because the unit digit of all these four are different. But anyways, if you have to solve and see, let's see. 22 into 16. So 132, 22. So 2 5 3 are 352. So this is the correct answer. Now let's move to the next one. Let's see what this question is all about. So 66 cubic centimeters of silver is drawn into a wire 1 millimeter in diameter. The length of the wire in meters will be, since all options are different, I think here is a mistake. This should not be here. Okay, now this is the question. 66 cubic centimeters of silver is drawn into a wire 1 millimeter in diameter. The length of the wire will be equal to what? Now see, wire is basically in form of a cylinder. So if you think that this is a piece of wire, if you look carefully at a wire, so it is basically an elongated cylinder, and this is the radius. But here there is no concept of height. There will be, in case of wire, there is concept of length. What is height for a cylinder? So what is height for a cylinder becomes the length for a wire. In case of a wire, we talk in terms of length. So now coming to the question. So some metal has been drawn to form the wire. It means the volume of the metal used. Volume of the metal used must be equal to the volume of the wire formed. So let us see. Now the problem is, here it is cubic centimeter, here it is 1 millimeter. So let's first understand the relation between millimeter and cubic centimeter. So 1 cubic centimeter is equal to 10 millimeters. So from here you can say that instead of writing 1 millimeter, you can write 1 upon 10 centimeter wherever you need to replace that. Now as per this question, volume of metal must be equal to volume of wire. So let's see. So volume of metal is already given 66 cubic centimeters. So 66 cubic centimeters. So I am using only centimeter everywhere. So I will convert millimeter into centimeter wherever millimeter is required to be used. I will not use millimeter. I will change that into centimeter, because you can equate centimeter with centimeter and not centimeter with millimeter. So keep the units uniform. So volume of metal must be equal to volume of wire. Since the wire is cylindrical in shape, so you will use the formula for cylinder. That means pi. So instead of pi, I will write 22 by 7 into r square. So radius is what? Half of diameter. So radius is equal to 0.5 or half of a millimeter. So radius is equal to 1 by 20th of a centimeter, because half of a millimeter, that means half of 1 by 10th of a centimeter. So radius is 1 by 20th centimeter. So volume of the wire. So volume of the wire is what? Pi r square h. So pi. Now radius is what? 1 by 20. So 1 by 20 whole square into height. Now in case of wire, as I already told you, there is no concept of height. There will be the concept of length. So that is what they are asking you, the length of the wire. So technically speaking, as per the formula, height takes the place of length. So into length. So whatever answer will come in centimeter. Please be mindful of that. So now let's see. So if you solve this from here, you can see that length must be equal to 66 into 7 divided by 22 into 20 into 20 centimeter. So let's see. So 22 threes are, so 7 threes are 21. So 21 into 4. So this is 8400 centimeter. So 8400 centimeter. So okay, none of the options matches. So 8400 yeah, then we can convert it into meters. So that is equal to 84 meters. Because why? Because 1 meter is equal to 100 centimeter. So this is the correct answer. So now let's move forward. The curved surface area of a cylindrical pillar is this much and its volume is this much. Find the ratio of its diameter to its height. Now understand, the curved surface area of a pillar. So if this is the pillar, let r be the radius, h be the height. So what you are asked to find the ratio of its diameter. Diameter is twice of radius and height. So you have to find this out. You have to somehow find this out. What is given? The curved surface area is given. So curved surface area is 2 pi r into h. So this is given. So this is equal to 264 units. What else is given? Its volume is also given. So volume, that means pi r square h is also given. So this is equal to 924. So let me call this equation 1 and this as equation 2. So dividing 2 upon 1. So dividing 2 by 1. What do you get? So pi r square h when divided by 2 pi r h must be equal to 924 divided by 264. So from here pi r h cancels. So pi r h cancels. So from here r by 2 is equal to, so 924 by 264. So both are cancelable by, I guess, 12. Yes, 12 of course. So let's cancel this out. So 12 sevens are 84. So this is 77. This is 22. So this is again cancelable by 11. So this is 7 by 2. So from here r by 2 is equal to 7 by 2. From here you can see that r comes out to be equal to 7. So r is equal to 7. So if r is equal to 7, you can substitute it here and you will get, let's find out the value of h. So let's substitute the value of r here. Let's try to find h. So 2 into pi, that means 22 by 7 into r. R we now know is 7. We don't know what height is. So this is equal to 264. So this 7 and this 7 cancel. So 2 into 22, 44. So 44, 6r. So height is 6. So radius is equal to 7. Height is equal to 6. So we have been asked to find, we have to find out 2r upon h. So r is equal to 7. So 2 into 7 upon 6. So 14 is to 6 comes out to be 7 is to 3. So this must be the answer. Now let's see this one. So a circular well with a diameter 2 meters is dug to a depth of 14 meter. What is the volume of earth dug out? So if you dug a well, so basically you are digging a cylindrical shape. Well is also in the form of a cylinder. So a circular well with a diameter 2 meters. That means the radius is 1 meter because the diameter is 2. And the depth means, technically speaking, the height of the cylinder is 14 meters. So what is the volume of the earth dug out? The volume of the earth dug out is actually the volume of the cylinder you are trying to form in the ground. So volume is equal to pi r square h. So pi is equal to 22 by 7 into r. Radius is 1. Why? Because the diameter is 2. So if this is 2, radius is half of it. So 1 square into height. Height is what? 14. So this is 22 into 2, 44 unit. So 44 meter cube must be the answer. So this is the correct answer. Now let's move forward. Two right circular cylinders of equal volume have their heights in the ratio 1:2. Find the ratio of their radii. So two cylinders. So let me name them cylinder 1 and cylinder 2. So have their heights in the ratio 1:2. So heights are in the ratio 1:2. So let me name its height h and its height 2h. So height already clear. Its height is h, its height is 2h. So we have to find the ratio of their radii. What else is known? Their volumes are equal. So if volumes are equal, then volume of C1 is equal to volume of C2. Volume of first cylinder is equal to volume of second cylinder. So pi R1 square h, because height of this is h, must be equal to pi R2 square, because let's suppose its radius to be R2 into height. Height of this one is what? 2h. So this must be valid. So you can cancel pi and h from here. So what can you see? The ratio of their radii. That means R1 square by R2 square is equal to 2. From here R1 by R2 is equal to root 2. From here you can see that ratio is what? Root 2 is to 1, because root 2 by 1. So root 2 is to 1 is the correct answer. Now let's move to the next one. A cylindrical tank of diameter 35 centimeter is full of water. If 11 liters of water is drawn off, the water level in the tank will drop by. Now please see, there is a problem here. Liter is used. So you must know that liter, 1 liter is equal to, in terms of volume, how many centimeter cube. So 1 liter is equal to 1000 cubic centimeter. Next time you get to use somewhere, you can interchange the volumes this way, because liter is also unit of volume. So 1 liter is equal to 1000 centimeter cube. So that is a mathematical relation. Now a cylindrical tank of diameter 35 centimeter is full of water. So if you take out water, obviously the water level will drop. So it means that if water level would drop, that means you can say that the upper cylinder became empty. So this much water was taken out. So volume of water taken out is equal to the volume of this cylinder, the hollow cylinder that will then get formed, the hollow portion of the cylinder. So let us see, let's assume that the water level drops to H. Then I can say that the volume of empty portion of cylinder, volume of empty portion of cylinder must be equal to water withdrawn, volume of water withdrawn. So let's solve this. So this empty portion is actually in form of a cylinder. So I can say that pi r square, so radius is 35 by 2. So pi into 35 by 2 whole square, pi r square into height. This is what we are trying to find, that by what will it drop, into h. H will be the drop in water level. So this must be equal to the volume of water withdrawn. So how much volume of water has been withdrawn? 11 liters. So now I am converting liter into centimeter cube. So to keep the unit uniform, so this relation must hold valid. So pi can be written as 22 by 7. So I can say that 22 by 7 into 35 by 2 into 35 by 2, because this is 35 by 2 whole square, into h is equal to 11 into 1000. So from here a few things will get cancelled. So 11 and 22 will get cancelled 2 times. 7 and 35 will get cancelled. So 7 5 times. Anything else? This 2 and this 2 will also get cancelled. This 5 and this 1000 will get cancelled. So 200 times. Now this 35 and this 200 will also get cancelled. 7 and 40. So h comes out to be 40 into 2, that means 80 upon 7. So this will be equal to 11 3 by 7 centimeter. So this must be the correct answer.